Ladies and gentlemen, we are back again with another very special episode of the Trying to Be Grown podcast. I am your host, Damani Carter, over there, and surprisingly, the non-striped shirt is my esteemed co-host, Mr. Byron Keaton. We have two very special guests today, Mr. Colyn Ritter and Aria Boroojeni. How are you both doing today?
I'm doing good, man. Doing good. I'm a little disappointed in my basketball team tonight. How they performed, I really wanted the dub, but outside of that, it's been good.
Colyn, would you like to?
I got to play basketball twice today, so it was pretty good. It was a good day, for sure.
Okay, well, let me. And Byron, we'll get to you in a second. I'm gonna air out some grievances right here.
Not a good day. That's a good metric for a good day.
No. So here's what happened to me today. This is my day, right?
That's crazy.
So I get a call at around 3:00. This is after we've already hooped once. So I'm back in Fayetteville, just enjoying this post signing day period. And he asked me to come hoop. I show up. It's like all of the players that played well at Springdale High School, not the bench guys. It's a bunch of guys on the other side that played well for Springdale High School. So I wasn't happy about that.
We didn't know.
Team didn't end up winning, so that was
we
another.
We won the first half, and we only lost by 12. And I promise you, only losing by 12 to that team will be in one of the better results of that team's schedule, or one of their closer games. I promise.
You know what they call guys that lose by 12? You know what they call them?
If there was a line on the game, we
losers.
Covered.
Losers.
Yeah, we lost for sure, but we covered that game.
They also had a 10-man roster, probably 13 really. We had 7 people? Really 6.
Yeah.
So who was scoring all the points? Is what I've been wondering this entire time.
Nico went nuts. Nico had 15. It was 20 probably. Nico was going crazy.
Nico did have a lot of points. I went 3 for 5. I didn't shoot much, but I went 3 for 5. So, a little DeAndre Jordan type night, like DeAndre Jordan now, not peak DeAndre Jordan.
That's who kids should be watching, DeAndre Jordan. He's a role model to many. Clearly, Damani grew up watching DeAndre Jordan. Was like, this is who I want to be.
He had that stretch where he was good, for a few years, where he was more than just catching lobs.
Nah, man, he was just carried by that Clippers team.
But the real issue was that I almost got dunked. And when I say almost, I'm talking about I was this close to getting dunked on. So that means Colyn was this close to me just walking over to the bench and just choking him out. So
it's crazy.
I'm glad that didn't happen.
That you did get dunked on. Some people's opinion was that you did get dunked on. I just want that.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing, right? By the time
we should have had
you
you come
to the rim,
watch Byron. It was a good game.
By the time he got to the rim, my feet were on the ground because they were physically running away from the rim. I had to make sure I was trying to. So put it to you this way: if the dunk was on the poster, I would be in the picture, but he never physically made contact with my body, and I was on the ground, like I said, by the time he hit the rim. So I'm definitely not.
So you would be on a poster though.
He would be in the poster.
In the poster,
if
not if the picture was taken,
it would be on.
If the picture was taken, I would be in the picture. But I'm saying if the picture is of the
full body,
if the picture was of the physical dunk, he'd be on the rim. I'd be running away. So and I'm proud of that. I'm very, very proud of the fact that I moved out of the way. No second thoughts about my decision whatsoever. None.
Honestly, you deserve to get dunked on because I remember that one time I played with you somewhere. And you definitely got that kid set.
Oh, my God. I got him bodied. I forgot about that.
He fell to the ground and everything because of you.
Oh, I got him bodied. I forgot about that. Yeah, that was horrific, man. I'm talking about, he put it behind his head and dunked on him, too. That was bad. If you're out there, bro, I'm sorry.
The hyper.
He didn't know. I knew he was like that. I knew Buddy could jump like that, but I didn't. We've gone kind of over with the intro because we went on a big tangent. But we appreciate y'all for rocking with us wherever you rocking with us. Obviously, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and of course YouTube. Yeah, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe. Is there anything I'm forgetting, Byron?
That's it. You hit it all.
Oh yeah, the topic rundown. So this will all be time stamped in the description. So if y'all want to take a look at that, skip something that you don't like, get to something that you do. Colyn has introduced me to the concept of a quarter life crisis. So being that we have a lot of listeners that are around our age, we're gonna talk about that a little bit. We're gonna
When
get
did
into...
I say that to you?
You see me doing something? You see what I'm doing? See, I'm kind of trying to stay like on the flow right here. Let me just give me 1 second.
All right, I'm sorry. I had to ask.
I'm just messing with you.
All right, go back.
Talking about quarter life crises. We're gonna get into kind of the Super Bowl thing. Talk about what's about to happen. Eagles are about to lose, and we're going to talk about, because Byron wanted to get philosophical today. He wants us to talk about whether people are intrinsically good or bad. And at that point, Aria will try to probably slide something in about NBA YoungBoy, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
I think those actually kind of go together, honestly. But we can talk about that later.
Maybe a little bit.
I'm gonna let you bridge that.
Colyn, to answer your question, we were hooping at St. Joe's, I think, when you said quarter life crisis in some form or fashion. And I don't remember what we were talking about, but I was like, I've never heard, obviously I've heard of a midlife crisis, but I'd never heard of just conceptually a quarter life crisis before. So yeah, if you want to just kind of pop that off, because you were the one that introduced the concept.
Yeah, it was just kind of terrible. It was during COVID, and I don't even know how I heard it. Someone said it, whatever. But yeah, it was. It's just staying home all day, and and then you're out of school. For at least me personally, I was in school for since I was 5, so 16 and 17 straight years of schooling, and then you go out of school, and I had a job and shit, but it was just kind of what is happening, what am I supposed to be an adult now, I pay taxes and stuff. I was this is horrible. And then and it's probably compounded by COVID, but I mean, I think it's, in the end, you come out for the better. At least I did personally, and maybe not for everybody, but what you learn stuff about yourself, you learn stuff about just life lessons, not being so dramatic. I'm a pretty dramatic guy, unfortunately. But I was just yeah, I mean, you look back and you're Jesus, oh my God, I was such I was whining so much. But it feels real in the moment. So yeah, it's terrible. I'm curious, if you obviously quarter year, around 25, presuming we live to 100 if we're so lucky. But
so Aria, as his roommate, are you gonna co-sign him being dramatic?
Honestly, not really. But
dude, I can't listen to a commercial. I can't. I physically can't. I start losing. I start shaking.
He has weird tics like that. He has to mute the TV.
What?
I can't listen to.
He hates the Whopper commercial.
No, I got negative. I got scarred by the Whopper commercial. I got absolutely scarred. And honestly, because I watch so much football, I Sundays, it's truly 10 straight hours of football, which is a great Sunday in my opinion. And it's just it's a lot of commercials. Thank God for Red Zone, but primetime games, any sort of sports, oh my God, AT&T, they're war criminals in their marketing department. BK, BK too. You gotta get someone needs to stop these guys. I promise you, there are gonna be negative effects on society in 20, 30 years. And
the Whopper
they probably got
commercial?
rewarded for it. The Whopper commercial, you know it.
The Whopper commercial.
The Whopper commercial is going to cause negative effects on society. Is it
Yes.
the Twitter picture that has the little block hitting all the way up to the big block?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what. Okay, so you're saying that Whopper commercial gets to negative societal effects in 30 years. That's
yeah. I work a decent amount with polling in my job, and if I'm still doing it in 20 years, I'm gonna work harder than I work on the majority of days to ask a question about BK's 2022 Whopper campaign.
Hey,
And we're gonna start it there, and then the ball will get rolling. And then eventually, some crazy MAGA lawmaker will like outlaw like marketing campaigns that like have just screaming the word in your face repeatedly. Hopefully, God, that's like a dream of mine.
Like I said, he has some weird tics. I just don't think he's dramatic. There's just certain things that really say.
You just heard him explain all of that, and you don't think he's dramatic? He's got a 30-year plan to take down the Whopper commercial, Aria, and you don't think he's dramatic?
I just think of myself as more dramatic than him, so I can't. I guess he is dramatic. But
Aria's dramatic in different ways, though. Aria's dramatic in funnier ways.
Okay, this is kind of a tangent, but we got to talk.
Are you all dramatic?
Byron's definitely.
I want to
hear.
I'm not dramatic at all, but I want to hear about Aria being dramatic.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We'll get to that in a second.
Like you better not say something to him on Dixon. That's all I'm saying. Like,
okay, no, that's different. That's
for those out there.
I get invoked and I have to react. That's not my fault.
No.
So other than that, do you think like you have dramatic tendencies just as like as a person going through life?
Me? Still? Yeah, absolutely. 1,000%.
Well, expand on that. Like we got time. What do you think is dramatic about you?
I think in just, I just feel like situationally I can overreact and be dramatic about things. Some would say petty too. That's been a word that's been.
Oh, you're 100% petty. You're definitely petty. You're definitely petty. I'll give you that.
Some would say, I don't know, but other people say that. So I think those kind of intertwine, no? Being dramatic and petty.
Man, I feel like they're not that far from each other, but I feel like you could definitely be one without the other. But,
I guess for me, it's my yin and yang being petty and dramatic.
That's a good
yin and
combo.
yang are usually like opposite of one another, but I think those are kind of like on the same spectrum. But anyways, if that's your yin and yang. Byron, what are you over there pondering?
I don't think you can be petty and not dramatic.
How?
Yeah, I think I agree. It's like a square and a rectangle. Like one is the other, but the other's not the other one.
Yeah. I think you can be dramatic and not petty, but I don't think you can be petty and not dramatic.
Yeah.
Okay, so if
So it's not your fault, Aria.
Put it this way. Like that okay, I was about to bring up never mind. That's because that'll get us on a totally different conversation. I was about to talk about the door night at the Row with you and me. But I'm just like if I was to like if somebody locked me out of the house, right? If somebody locked me out of the house and the next day, like knowing that nobody was going to come in and rob us, I just locked the door so they'd have a tougher time getting into the house. I feel like that's petty, but that's not really dramatic, is it?
It's dramatic based on why you did it, like the reasoning behind it. Like there was a overreaction to the day before, which is I believe is dramatic.
I feel like that's kind of a stretch.
Like the dictionary definition of dramatic, yeah, I think
that's dramatic.
We already off on like we in left field with this. Getting to the quarter life crisis feeling. And I'm just kind of lobbing this up. Do you feel like the increased like visibility that we have like through social media, like through the just general connectedness that we have now and seeing like people your age that are already like kind of at the next step in their life, do you think that, and maybe not even specifically with you, but just like as a general thing, do you think that makes it worse for people our age that might be like in a quarter life crisis situation for whatever reason?
100%, no doubt. Like I deleted Instagram. it was a huge move, a huge addition to my life. I would highly recommend. I still have Twitter, which is terrible, but yeah, like seeing others and like whether it's like getting a nice job or buying a house or whatever, it's just it just is always like it just you think about it and then you automatically think of yourself, and then like if you're at all insecure, which I am totally, like you just think of like, what the fuck am I doing type of thing. So yeah, deleting Instagram was nice for that, but also then it was just kind of like growing up and like day by day realizing like it's not really a big deal. Can't control it. Do your own thing. Just like do your thing and it'll work out. Try hard, be a good person type of thing.
I was gonna say too with Instagram, I feel like people can like kind of alter the image of how great things really are. People, they blow their lives up to be so much better, and I feel like everybody's in a competition of like who looks like they live the best life instead of who's like actually living the best life.
Yeah, like I've always seen Instagram as like going back to high school, or whatever, when everyone had like their huddle highlight films. That's what it basically is. It's not like if you watch someone's game tape, they may be a completely different player than what their highlight film says. And so I always try to remember that when I'm looking at Instagram, just because it's just natural for us to want to like compare our lives to other people's. And I think that's typically, well, that's like what I've read about quarter life crisis like beforehand and like heard about. It's just, it comes from like us comparing ourselves to other people or different timelines and things like that. Because like as you're going through your 20s, you typically, everyone like has an idea of what they want to do with their life, and then they get to that spot and then they're like, okay, I'm not where I want to be, I'm not where so and so is, and things like that kind of just can like bring you down. But I've always tried to like think of it the opposite way, just to go with the flow. Don't try to compare my life to other people. If you do that, you're never going to be happy with your life in the end.
What is it? So, comparison is the thief of joy. Is that what I'm saying? Yeah.
You're already getting philosophical. We're not even at that part of the show yet. You ahead of the game.
Damn. Sprinkling some knowledge in, it's what I do.
So, Aria, do you feel like you had? Well, I'll start by saying, like, I personally, with me, like, I never conceptualized it as like a quarter life crisis, because I mean, like, football players, like, we have this little thing that happens like when you're done with football, because you've done it for like all of your life. It's been a huge part, like it's been like part of your identity for so long, and it's weird like being in the space where you're not doing it anymore. So I kind of conceptualized it in that vein, more than thinking of it as like a quarter life crisis. But I can kind of like just identify with some of the stuff that you're talking about, like that you felt. But I never, like I said, I just thought about it as like a football player being done rather than like through a quarter life crisis. So, all right, do you feel like with any of your experience that there was like a quarter life crisis thing that happened with you?
So I was thinking about this before the podcast, because I feel like I've had a lot of crises, but I don't know if any of them were quarter life crises. But I don't know. I like, compared to what you guys are saying, I guess I never really like school was never like that. I don't really give much of a shit. I was just there to get my degree. So I was like, I knew something was going to work out afterwards, and I'd make something happen. So I don't know. I never really worried about it like that. But like, I mean, yeah, there's days where, you randomly think about it and you're like, I wish I was, doing better at this or did something different. But I wouldn't say I ever hit that like quarter life crisis piece.
And Byron, I guess it's kind of like for you, you jumped straight from football, and we've talked about on here how ready you were to be done with football. So you probably didn't have
football. By the end of it, I hated it.
I know
that may have been part of my quarter life crisis, but I hated it by the end of it.
How could that be part of you? Because you're trying to get to something. What I was gonna say is you kind of jumped straight into what you wanted to do, and I mean you haven't, as far as I know, you really haven't wavered since that point. So the experience was probably a little bit different with you.
No, I disagree. My quarter life crisis is definitely in that area.
Really?
I may have hit it very well, but yeah. because I always said that mine was around 21 years old. Because I always felt like a quarter life crisis should be. I don't think it should be 25, but it can. I guess it can be 25, more or less, because I don't think. Well, most people don't live to 100. So I'm like, 21.
It's not like a literal thing. When people say midlife crisis at 50, they're not assuming that they're going to live to 100. It's just like a general range.
But for me, mine was 21. I felt like that was perfect for a quarter life crisis, because I'm like, 84, that sounds like a good age for me. And then 21 was around the time where I had a lot of different moving pieces in my life, with football, planning out what I wanted to do next with my life. It was just a lot of unknowns, and I saw people around me getting married, having kids, starting jobs, and I'm just like, what am I wanting to do with my life? And so I want to say it was like a 6-month span. I didn't feel really prepared for the real world, and that's kind of somewhat how I ended up going to law school. I'm just like, I need to be in a space where it's like still controlled and kind of like get my bearings on life. And it ended up working out, I guess, but that was definitely that 21 range, somewhere around there, was my quarter life crisis. And I knew it at the time where, cause like I'd read some stuff around like, that's a perfect explanation for it. So yeah.
I'm gonna be real honest here. You saw people at 21 getting married, and you felt like somehow that was. When I saw people get married at 21 and there wasn't a child involved, I was like, why?
Well, it just seemed like they had their life together. Like they knew what they wanted. They had everything planned out. Just to me, that seemed. I'm not saying that's the only way to have your life together, but it just seemed like they had their family situation figured out. They had everything figured out, more or less.
Okay, well, I mean, I guess I can kind of get behind it, but I mean, I saw like, and obviously no disrespect to anybody that they got married at 21. I hope things are great, but I mean, when I saw people get married at 21, I was like, what is wrong with what's going on there? But yeah, I mean, I can see that. I guess. Yes, I can see that. Well, so transitioning to this Super Bowl talk, I'm sorry, I'm kind of dominating the conversation here, but I so desperately want the Eagles to lose. It's very. I've never felt this way about a Super Bowl before. Like in recent memory, because my brother's roommate played in the Super Bowl in 2006, whichever one was Bears Colts. So I mean, I really wanted the Colts to lose because they played for the Bears, but I think this is the most I have ever wanted a team to lose. Because in that scenario, I really just wanted the Bears to win. I don't care who's on the other side. I want the Eagles to lose. That's where I'm at right now.
Damani, you need to let go of the past and look at the future.
You're a Texans fan.
The Texans are the future. D'Amico Ryans, he's about to be. He's going to build a dynasty.
All right, hold on. There we go. Let's get back at it. So, basic thing that I'm going to say again: 5 is more than 1. It's also more than 2. So even if they do win, I'm not worried about the trophy case. 2, I want to address the other people that are, smiling and ready to support you. Byron decided to be a Buccaneers fan, and when they won the Super Bowl, he couldn't tell me the head coach's name. So
that is incorrect.
That is true. That is true.
Thank you. Yeah, I've at least seen my team win. I don't know if someone else in here can say the same thing. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And Aria is a Texans fan, so I mean I don't care. I don't care about
We're
that.
the future, Damani. D'Amico Ryans is the future.
A big D'Amico Ryans fan. He coached my boy up for the last couple of years. But it's not even really a Cowboys thing, all right? So as you know, the 49ers played the Eagles, which for obvious reasons, I was rooting for the 49ers. No real problem with the outcome. I'm not I think Sirianni's bravado is a little bit much sometimes. But this is what, yeah, this is why. This is why. I heard from multiple Eagles fans, one of which being your brother, Brandon, that it was just a dominant performance from the Eagles that forced the 49ers to, just to crumble at the hands of the massive power of the Philadelphia Eagles. They hurt the quarterback on the first drive. And that was the third string quarterback. No, I'm not trying.
He's also the best quarterback on their roster.
I'm not trying to hear that. Hassan Reddick is a beast, but here's the thing. And Byron, you played a part. You're not even an Eagles fan, and you played a part in this, right? You said just protect the quarterback. So in saying that, you're implying that every time a quarterback is sacked, he has perfect. You can't bring up the fact that he got hurt. If the offensive line let him get hit, then you can't bring up the fact that he got hurt when you discuss the results of the game. Is that what you're saying?
I'm just saying they should have protected him better on that one play he got hurt. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying anything else.
That's a stupid argument. And I've told you why that's a stupid argument.
I'm not saying the offensive line has to play a perfect game, but that one play where he got hurt, they should have done a little bit better.
Okay, and this is where I went before, so I'm going to tell you this. That series with the Warriors, where Bron didn't have Kevin Love and he didn't have Kyrie Irving, he should have scored more points. If he scored more points, then the Cavaliers would have won. Do you have a problem with that?
I'm talking about one play, not the whole game.
Do you have a problem with that?
How many points you want LeBron to score? You want him to score 30 more points?
So if they give up one sack, which is Purdy got sacked one time. Purdy got sacked one time. He got sacked one time.
Equivalent to 30 points, yes or no? That's all I'm saying. I don't think those are equivalent.
How many times do offensive lines go an entire game without giving up a sack?
How many snaps are there in a game?
Depending on the NFL game, anywhere from 55 to
So I just don't think one sack is equivalent to 30 points. If there are 70 snaps in a game, he gets hurt on one play. That's like missing one shot. If you said LeBron should have made one more shot, sure, I might be fine with it. But all I said was they have to block better on that one play. I didn't say they have to be the best offensive line in the league. I didn't say they did it. That's all I'm saying.
No, you didn't. But here's what I think you're missing about the comparison that I'm making. I'm saying that if it's just as simple as anytime a quarterback gets hurt on a play that he is sacked, there's no discussing the results. There's no discussing the results because, they should have protected him better. If it's that simple, if all it is that simple, I'm comparing that oversimplistic argument that you're making to the oversimplistic argument that if Bron scored more points, the Cavaliers would have won, because if it's the same line of reasoning that gets you from one to the other in both cases. They're both dumb.
Extreme. One is an extreme. One is not. I need them to be equivalent. Say LeBron should have made one more shot.
Damani, do you think the 49ers would have won that game if Purdy played the whole time?
I'm not saying that they would. I'm not saying that they would have won. What I'm saying is this, right? If Purdy does not get hurt, even with him hurt, if Josh Johnson does not drop a snap, and I'm talking about not a snap that went over his head, if he doesn't drop a snap that hit him in the hands, it is a 14-7 game at half with the fourth string quarterback. And Josh Johnson performed exponentially worse than we've seen Purdy perform, even under the conditions. Can we agree on that?
Yeah, the Eagles offense, the 49ers defense is great, and the Eagles offense struggled. Jalen Hurts is not fully healthy. That is fact. The Eagles running game bailed them out. The 49ers, you're a trench guy, Damani. You saw what happened. The Eagles offensive line destroyed the 49ers defensive line, and vice versa on the other end. The Eagles were so good on the pass rush. The 49ers offensive line had no shot. That game was not going anywhere other than the Eagles win. It was decided in the trenches from play one, and it truly was because of the injury, but it metaphorically was as well. You know this.
So think about it this way, Colin. Did the Eagles offense have really any pressure on the other side to deal with that would have made it, I'd say, difficult on them from a play calling standpoint? Did they have any? Because if I'm an offensive coordinator and I know that the other team is having a lot of trouble putting up points, right? I can run the full gamut of my stuff because there's no pressure. There's no pressure whatsoever. So if you continually are getting 3 and outs, offense not crossing the 50, and you have exceptional interior linemen, that weighs on the defensive line after a while. And if you look at I don't have the snap counts in front of me, so if I'm wrong, I'll be wrong. But if you look at how many snaps the 49ers had to play on defense versus how many snaps the Eagles had to play on defense, it's a lot easier to generate a great pass rush, to have great defensive line play when you're just playing like pressure free.
Agreed, totally. But the Eagles also like had that pressure from snap one. Like it quite literally injured.
Yeah, and I'm saying they were performing well, but it's a 14-7 game at halftime. So if you look at what everybody was doing, like the entirety of the first half, the Eagles had. I'm trying to think if they had another one that I can't think about.
No, they got a lucky
both of their successful drives. Yeah, both of their successful drives were touchdowns. No, so all of the other drives in the first half, the 49ers stoned them.
Our defense won that. Our defense and offensive line won that game.
But that's what I'm saying. When you're saying the defense won the game, that implies that there was an offense on the other side that was formidable. No, but there wasn't.
I get what you're saying, but like the reason they had no offense is because the defense injured them from play one. Like, and they injured them because Purdy.
There we go. We're back to square one.
But because Purdy held the ball too long and got injured, because the pass rush is like they have stars on the other end. Like, I mean, that's why they
got hurt right there.
That's why they won the game by 24.
Man. Okay. So
my question is, did they not give Purdy and Toradol to try to get him to keep playing? I thought they just usually go blue tape. Give him the
Toradol. Been outlawed since like 2008, or maybe not that because
I forgot.
So what did Mahomes get in the locker room?
Stop using them
of that Jaguars game.
I don't know. That's a good question because that's exceptional for like an ankle sprain to be out there like that. But then again,
he was looking good. Aria is a big. Aria is our newfound expert on ankle injuries, so I was really looking to him for
I think you should be
any sort of clarity.
As somebody who recently had a broken ankle, I think that is like very brave players to come back after 6
Aria,
weeks.
I think he said deserved a Purple Heart reserved for like combat vets, but like I couldn't be sure. I'm pretty sure he said that.
They should make like a Hall of Fame for players that come back quickly from ankle injuries.
Mm-hmm. Ben Roethlisberger.
My shit still doesn't feel right.
Y'all are like continuing to entrench me, and just I hope the Chiefs win because that's just that's so dumb to think that like an injury because we look at the number of sacks that happen over the course of a season, and to have it happen on the first sack of the game, on the first drive of the game, you're just talking. Oh my God! See, here's
my other question: was that the only quarterback injury that they've had all season?
No, it wasn't. What's your point?
There.
But Purdy is the best quarterback the 49ers have. He's better than Trey Lance.
That's crazy talk.
Okay.
The Brock Purdy propaganda has gone way too far. And honestly, I'm upset that he got hurt because he would have gotten exposed in that game. Granted, it probably would have been like a 24 to like 14 win if he really played. But like, and McCaffrey would have scored both touchdowns. Purdy would have thrown picks.
That's been like his thing so far, is that he's been very good with his decision making.
Who besides the Cowboys, they did not play a real team when he was there. The Dolphins were the best team.
Playoff team still.
Dolphins aren't bad. Dolphins aren't bad. But defensively they're not. That's not their strong suit.
So Tampa Bay is not a real team?
They played the Seahawks.
Tampa Bay, no. And I'm a Bucs fan, no.
Tampa Bay should apologize to all their fans for this year. They truly forced Brady into retirement. If they had an okay year. They took the GOAT out back. That's how
Tom Brady literally lost his wife for that to come back for that season. Like, truly, I hope in his eyes it was worth it.
Todd Bowles is sorry to go off on a tangent, but Todd Bowles is a terrible head football coach. He would punt in field goal range. He has several times. He's addicted to punting on fourth down. He will not go for it on fourth down. And that and delay of games are the two things that drive me crazy in the NFL. You have to go for it on fourth down. Wake up. Chiefs and Eagles, best fourth down teams.
Wait, so we got sidetracked. Who was everyone's Super Bowl picks?
Chiefs.
Eagles. I want the Eagles to win for monetary reasons more than I care.
Oh my God.
And I also don't want Jackson Mahomes or Patrick Mahomes' wife to be able to celebrate it.
True. Someone needs to stop them.
I will. Hey, I'll give credit where credit's due. They have chilled out this year. I think Patrick Mahomes finally said something to them.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. That
Who's yours,
he definitely kind of said, "Hey, y'all better cut it out, or y'all getting cut off." Supposedly.
Damn.
I don't know if that's true or not. That's what
They got real quiet.
But
I mean, that would be the right thing to do.
Yeah.
They're crazy.
So, Byron, we know my pick. We know Colyn's pick. Your pick for Super Bowl winners.
I'm torn because I like Jalen Hurts, and so I kind of want him.
I do too.
I want him to win, but I also want Patrick Mahomes to continue building his GOAT resume.
I agree with that. I'm a huge Patrick Mahomes fan. He's so good.
So if I had to choose who will win, I'll probably go Chiefs, but I'm fine either way in this situation.
Who are the Chiefs going to trot out at wide receiver? Their top 3 receivers are out.
That's the difference between the Chiefs and the Eagles, is that the Eagles have a good quarterback on a rookie contract, and the Chiefs have a god quarterback on like a really expensive contract. And so who are they going to trot out? Like a banged up Juju, banged up Hardman.
Hardman, Juju, and Tony didn't practice this week.
Kelsey, obviously. Pacheco. But the Eagles are just, I mean, like, it's just, can Mahomes like survive a really great pass rush on a bum ankle? Because Damani told me earlier in the year that the Cowboys could beat the Chiefs if they got to the Super Bowl because of the lines. And I pushed back a little bit. But the Eagles have a pretty, like, they have equal, if not better, line, I think, interior and exterior, than the Cowboys. I think it's close.
But here's the thing. I think
so. You know, in your heart of hearts.
Oh, I mean, if I was an unbiased observer looking at the game, I would be. Oh my gosh, I would be for the Eagles to win. They have an exceptional defensive line, exceptional offensive line. I just, for the last week, Eagles fans, excluding a few, because my head coach is an Eagles fan, defensive coordinator is an Eagles fan, but the conversations that I have had with Byron, who's not even an Eagles fan, like you've contributed a lot to my Eagles hatred. Just because you said, they should have protected the quarterback better. That's dumb.
Asked the question.
That's so stupid.
I asked the question.
That's so stupid.
No.
That's so stupid.
I asked you a question.
It's a good question.
No, it's not.
I said, why didn't they protect the quarterback? And then you just blew up on me for no reason.
Because it's a stupid
simple
argument.
answer is the Eagles have a really great pass rush. That's why it's hard to defend the quarterback when you're up against people like that. It's that simple. But
so
Byron asked a good question.
How many quarterbacks have the Eagles injured this year?
I don't know, but we led the league in sacks.
Led the league in sacks. How many quarterbacks have the Eagles injured? You're making my point for me. They led the league in sacks, and how many quarterbacks have they injured?
In the last game.
They did hurt.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you count Josh Jones, but how many? 2.
Yeah. All
right. So after leading the league in sacks, and the 49ers were 6 in sacks,
we played the game the right way.
Lost 2. No, that's not even remotely true. It's not even remotely.
It sounds like those injuries were just like they were more probable based on how many sacks they had. Like, eventually, a quarterback had to get.
You're either hot or you're due.
Wow, numbers.
They were due for hurting.
I hope the Eagles get dragged just because of what you just said, Byron. Oh my gosh. That's the type of stuff I'm talking. But I've heard multiple like lines of reasoning from Eagles fans that go right in line with what he's saying. They're not necessarily that bad, and that is why. And I posted on my story that I was like asking God for the Eagles to lose. I am literally on Saturday, February the 11th, going to ask God when I pray for the Eagles to lose that football game because I am so sick and tired of Eagles fans. So tired.
This is the current state of Dallas Cowboys football. Right
No,
here.
it's not even about the like because the Eagles the first time that they won, I was cool with them. I didn't really have a problem with it. Philly special, all that crap. No, I didn't. I promise I didn't. Philly special was cool. I thought about the fact that, you know, the Eagles fans I know would be able to say that they had a championship, but no, it was a good team. I was okay with it. This year, y'all have gone too far, and I'm sick of you, and I hope the Eagles lose. That's where I'm at.
Sirianni referring to Jalen Hurts as Michael Jordan too.
That will backfire.
Want them to lose?
Maybe not today. That will backfire for sure. All right, that's horrible karma.
I feel like anytime you say that,
you're just begging. You're tempting the fate gods to come down and.
It's like the Cincinnati mayor doing changing the
Burrowhead. Day. Yeah, you can't say that.
At least win the game first. Don't.
Or the 49ers going to the Rocky statue and messing with that.
Yeah, it's fucked up, man. You can't mess with Rocky. That's bad karma too.
Oh, one more kind of addendum to this conversation. Is Philadelphia like the worst city,
sports city,
overall fan meanness?
Yeah, probably. They threw snowballs at Santa Claus
too. If you're doing like the city of Philadelphia as a whole, includes Sixers fans, then
yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I think like this is the conversation I had yesterday. I think like there are individual teams, maybe that you could say like these people are worse than Philly fans. Because I mean, you could argue Celtics fans. No, not Lakers fans. You can argue Celtics fans over Sixers fans.
Celtics fans are the worst. You're right. That's so
but
true.
Celtics fans, they don't hate their own players. Philly fans, they will turn on their players very quickly.
That's true.
Ben Simmons, prime example.
Yankees fans are terrible.
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. I think you can look at individuals, but if you just combine like the Eagles fan base and the Sixers fan base, those are some angry people, dog. Like I think as a whole sports city, I think they got it.
Yeah, I agree. Have you been to Philly?
I have not. No, not.
It's a good. It's a cool place, man. It's got a lot of good stuff, like for a city. But you're right. The people do have like an edginess for sure. Like they're like Aria and Dixon. Sorry to reference that again, but like like it's just like ready to snap. Like
I don't know why you got to bring that up.
Pass. I think I'm good on Philly.
I'm sorry, Aria.
So, transitioning off of that, Byron, your philosophical pondering for the day. I'll let you introduce that. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I use TikTok a lot. So you see a lot of random things, and some kind of way this popped up into my head. I'm not sure if I saw something on TikTok that like said this or what, but the question came into my head: are people intrinsically good or bad? And my answer is people are bad, like just naturally bad people, everyone. I think we teach behaviors to make us a little bit better. But I think like overall, we are like all inherently bad people. It's my very short take.
I'll lob that up to Ari. Go ahead. Just what?
Yeah, I mean,
what do you think?
I think I would want to believe that people are good, but yeah, I'm with you. And I think people, like you said, are trained to be good, but also only do good to a degree because it like advances them in their own ways. Deep down, I think that's how people work. Because like I'd heard it another way. It's like, are people inherently good and do bad things, or are people inherently bad and do good things?
Go with the latter. I think bad. Yeah. It's a tough question. I don't know the actual answer to it, but yeah.
Because
Colin,
I
you
mean, if you
usually
think
go ahead. Go ahead,
I
Art.
was gonna say going to the behaviors piece that you said, like growing up, you really do have to be like taught how to be good in a lot of ways, but nobody teaches you how to be bad. But I don't know.
I hadn't thought about it though. That's a good point. Good point about the teaching. Colin, you're usually the ray of sunshine. So let's see what you have to say about this.
That is a true descriptor of me. I don't know. I haven't really thought much about it. I want to believe, depending on the mood I'm in, I think more often I'm in the mood of people are good. I think. You gotta hope. And then if they're bad, more often than not, it's obvious. So, yeah, I think people start out good and then trauma, bad experiences alter that path, I think. Not to get like super like religious or whatever. But it's a good question. I wish I paid more attention in like my like philosophy classes in college, because I think about it more now than like a 18-year-old is supposed to, who's just like fiending to get like drunk and like do whatever like freshmen in college do. They should make you take philosophy classes like senior year.
Yeah.
So I think, and I've thought about this for a while because we talked about this the other day. I think there's no way to like squarely put humanity in one category or the other, because I think we do certain things like naturally that are good, and I think we certainly do like some things that are bad too, because I think selfishness is kind of a natural trait because it's a survival instinct sometimes. Like if we just go all the way back to the Stone Ages, then I'm not well educated enough to, say most of these things. So if anybody's like an anthropologist, just close your ears for a second. Like having more food while somebody else has no food would mean that like you survive and the other person doesn't. So I could see like selfishness being like a survival instinct, if that part makes sense. But at the same time, like if those same like non-developed humans saw somebody else like hanging off of a cliff, I'm pretty sure they'd just go over and help them up. You don't think they would do that?
Not all.
I do.
I don't think all humans would go over there and help them up. Because like we see tiny, not something that extreme to where like someone's hanging onto a cliff, but like people every single day they drive by homeless people and don't give them anything when they have $10 worth of change right there in their console.
But that's learned though.
How's that learned?
We learn like through just what society values, that homeless people are not like
they're grifting and they don't deserve your money, even though they definitely need it.
Yeah, like we learn how society values homeless people, and we just like adapt. But even if you think about like dogs, like if dogs see somebody in trouble, they start barking and trying to get people to like come over and pay attention to it. And even if it's people that they don't know.
I think like Byron's right. Byron's right in saying that like there are some people who wouldn't, and I think we see it in little everyday things that we don't notice or that aren't as extreme, but then like they pile up. I do agree. Like the homeless person example is a really great example. Like it's a very weird feeling seeing it. Like obviously like you said, Damani, it's like this like societal like it's like taboo in society. Like we don't talk about it, we don't address it, and in reality, the system most of the time the system has just failed this person and they haven't gotten the help they need. And we are like, we're playing like a tiny part in it, which is kind of sad. Next time I see that homeless person on Joyce, I'm going to do something. I'm going to give them some change.
So like, think about people, like another example, someone will be like walking home with their groceries and they will see this person do this once or twice a week. And people still won't like, hey, do you want to ride over here, just because like the selfishness that something may end up happening to me, which is like a survival instinct, but it's still like you're trying to protect yourself at the detriment of someone else that may or may not happen. And I just kind of think, I'm not saying I don't think it's good in that situation. I would say it leans more towards the bad side, just because at the end of the day, everyone wants to survive and do what's best for them rather than just, I guess, do what's right based on the fear of the unknown.
And but see, you're talking about like fear and how all these other things play into it, and I think you're kind of helping my point in saying that. And I'm saying, like, if the fear is not there, it's just, for example, like when I was at the gym today, like it was really packed. Somebody saw me like walking around looking for a place to do like my dumbbell bench, and he asked me if I wanted to work in with him. Like there was nothing like preventing him from being a good person. Like there's no real like, there's kind of a bystander effect, I guess, with everybody there and having like me having the ability to be at any bench that I wanted to, but there's nothing really preventing him from being nice. So he was nice. And I think if you kind of extrapolate that like over all of humanity, I think there are just a lot of examples where we have those instincts. We don't even necessarily have to be taught that. Because I mean, obviously we have to teach.
I disagree. I 100% disagree with that statement. That is a learned behavior based on more or less that guy's experiences, where he wanted someone to do that for him and no one else did it. If you look at a child that's around 2 or 3 years old, how many parents have to teach their children to share rather than their kid naturally sharing with someone else? It never happens. All parents always have to teach their kids to share.
I think in most cases you're right, but let's think about it this way. Like when we talk about like the behaviors that people just go, oh, like when toddlers like, you know, just run over and give another toddler a hug, because that's an easy thing that we can talk about in terms of like scarcity, right? There's no scarcity for hugs. If you're talking about toys, these are my toys and I only have a fixed amount of them. If it's food, I know that there's a fixed amount of food. I've given like the same portion every day and I don't want to give any away to any other toddler. But like when a kid hugs another kid, yes, is that a learned behavior that you see parents doing? Of course. But no matter how many times I see my parents sharing, I have to be taught that. And that's kind of what you just hit on. If they're enacting good behaviors that they see in other people and just doing them just out of, not even necessarily out of habit, but just because they know that they're good things to do, then why don't those, I guess, not equal out, but how can they exist in the same person and what you're saying be true about us being intrinsically bad?
Are you saying like someone had to do it naturally to start and it just like grew and like kindness like spread like across people's like psyches across generations?
No, I'm just saying, like, I think the opposite is true. I think it's just like naturally there, because a kid, even if you don't tell a kid to hug another kid, there's sometimes that it just happens. So if you're talking about like sharing, which obviously like you hit on, like it's something that you have to teach kids to do. Those kind of, if those two can exist in the same toddler, which we see all the time, then that's some intrinsically good behaviors and some intrinsically bad behaviors, is it not?
Damani, I have a question for you. If we were to kidnap a kid from a hospital tonight, drop that kid in the middle of the woods, and we come back 13 years later and try to bring that kid back into society, what type of person would that kid be? Do you
Probably
think
one that started barking when we walked up.
He'd be a wolf child. He'd be like, that's
like,
the Jungle Book. That's the plot. That's Tarzan or whatever. I'm mixing up Disney movies.
I don't think it would be a good kid. I think it would be a bad kid.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be very well adjusted to society, but I think it would still do the same things that the toddler would do. I'm saying it would probably hug us eventually after it got to know us.
Nope, I don't think so.
But you're like, that's traumatic. Like dropping a kid out
that's
in the
a
woods.
different level of brain.
It's scarred as hell.
It was a heck of an.
Physically
Why did it have to
and
start with a
mentally.
kidnapping? You started that off, and
How
You guys
else
can
are gonna get a kid
podcast
in the
from
woods?
I would watch.
like, how else would we get them out there? That's a dumb question.
You could just tell you when they ask you what you did in prison, you say like it was a social experiment, kidnapped a child, put it in the woods. We needed to hash out this podcast discussion.
Someone actually did something like that, kind of, and they got in a lot of trouble for it. But
That person is inherently bad.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. But Damani, one thing you said earlier about it, you said you can't lump all people into like inherently good or inherently bad. I was thinking like you have a point there, but I think overall people, a majority would fall into that inherently bad side, and people more so lean towards inherently bad than inherently good, naturally.
I can see that, and this is so. Obviously, this is going to support y'all point, but I'm starting to think about like. If we think about like economic strategies, right? Like all the way on the spectrum from capitalism to communism, like all of them are sound like theories, but the thing that always messes them up is the people, because the people don't do what they're supposed to do. Mm-hmm. So that's like, I'm just thinking about that in terms of whether we're intrinsically good or intrinsically bad. And if we were intrinsically good, like all economic theory would work. You know what I'm saying? Because like communism, everybody shares everything and the government controls it. Everybody in the government is a good person. They do what they're supposed to do. Mm-hmm. Capitalism, it's just the people do what they're supposed to do and the government doesn't get involved. But both of them have like their obvious shortcomings. And it's because of the people. It's because of the people. But I still don't think that makes us all intrinsically bad. I just think we're intrinsically selfish, and that's kind of evolutionary. But I mean, I can kind of comply with what y'all saying just based on that thought. But I don't think it's like an absolute. I think there are intrinsically good things that we do and intrinsically bad things that we do.
If it were truly intrinsic, wouldn't it be interesting to see like where your like first line of your like family tree was like intrinsically on the good bad scale, and like see where you've gone?
That would. I would pay for the 23andMe.
Yeah, I mean that's some 23andMe. Like,
I would never pay for 23andMe.
They can have that idea for a sum of
money. I would never want them to have my DNA. Fuck that.
You wouldn't want to know?
Fuck that. I don't want 23andMe to have my DNA.
All right. Well, maybe pretend it's like a less corrupt. They're not shipping it to you straight to the government. Pretend it's But what would you want to know? That
if I knew my DNA was safe, like if I could go there myself, like
oh my god,
test it or watch them and then watch them dispose of any evidence, then yes.
All right. You know how I know that you're intrinsically bad?
Why is that?
Because you think NBA YoungBoy is the greatest rapper to ever live. That's how I know that you're intrinsically bad.
He's like, there's really no question about it.
That's how I know.
From a numbers standpoint, he's there.
Yeah,
from
true. Like, you're a big numbers
wise,
guy. 5 is greater than 1. Fact or fiction? All right, what are YoungBoy's numbers?
He has the most streams on YouTube ever of anybody, so has the highest count per month.
It's hard to argue with those numbers.
But look at like if we're looking at like streams per album, but you got to think he puts out a new album like every 2 weeks.
Yeah, if you go, okay, look, this is why I was telling you about the Billboard interview. It's like 6.5 minutes, the clip they released. Just go watch that, and he talks about it. So for one, he doesn't put pen to paper. All of his music, he just sits in the booth and whatever comes out. Whatever he's feeling is what comes out. So that's
it shows.
That's where he's got the leg up. And two, he said it's actually like a disease to him how he has to release music. He said he really tries
shows.
to wait. I mean, yeah. I mean, I'll say like, dude's definitely like out there. So yeah, I mean, could he do a better job at refining his music and only putting out an album every like year, 3 years, like some of your favorite artists, and make sure it's handpicked the best songs? Yeah, you could absolutely do that. But why? Like, as the consumer, I want more music.
But
He cares about his fans.
Yeah,
Yes.
but I don't want to have to, like, y'all are fine with doing it. I don't want to have to go through 24 songs of, like, in a 6-month period just to find out, like, which ones are good. Because
it's like most of them.
This is how I find out which YoungBoy songs are good, right? I wait on y'all to play them at the functions in the house because I know you're going to do it. And that way I can, like, weed out all of the stuff that I don't want to listen to because there's so much to listen to.
Who's your GOAT, Damani?
GOAT, Jay-Z. Favorite, Jermaine Cole.
Sure would agree with you.
I mean, I'm glad you're a fan of J. Cole. How often does he drop music? Like, it takes that man, 2-3 years to come up with 10 songs, and like, ooh, congrats, man. You took fucking 3 years to do that. YoungBoy will churn out a whole fucking tape that's fire in one night.
Okay, let me ask you this, all right? You about to get new tattoos, right? You about to get new tattoos.
Yeah.
Are you going to go to the tattoo artist that does a tattoo every 6 minutes and you got to look at 17 of them to find one you like? Or are you going to go to the guy that does a great job and takes 7 hours? So I mean, which one are you going to pick?
Tattoos are kind of permanent. You know, the song, if I don't like it, I can just hit next. So that's a little different.
My point is, craftsmen take their time. So if you're talking about like how long it takes for the greatness to hit my ears, I don't care as long as it's greatness.
But
Cole, Byron, I know you can't tell from the camera. I'm looking straight at you when I say this. Every album that he has dropped, every mixtape except the first one, teetering on greatness. It was evidence that greatness was about to come. God. Everything he has ever dropped. Greatness.
What's that album that's like
greatness?
Is it For Your Eyes Only? No, what's the one after For Your Eyes Only?
KOD.
That's the worst album I've ever heard in my life. I think I may have one song downloaded from that entire album.
That's one too many, truthfully.
He was on a run to where it was like 2 or 3 not great albums. It started with For Your Eyes Only. And then KOD. There may have been another one after that.
I'll give you this, Damani.
Go ahead.
J. Cole, he's an amazing feature artist. He's really good on it.
There you go.
He messes up when he tries to produce his own music. It's his problem. He tries to do everything by himself. And sometimes you got to let someone else handle it. Sonically, doesn't sound great.
2014, greatness.
That was great.
KOD, greatness, but you have to understand where you're aiming with the project. If you look at an action movie expecting to laugh and you judge it by how often you laugh, you're going to think it's not very good. I'm saying it's a very deep album. It's a very deep album.
Wait, Damani. When I said that about Drake's experimental projects, you were like, no, it's just trash.
Well,
experimental?
Drake is trash. We can talk about that.
But now you're saying I got to look at it from a different lens for J. Cole?
Look, bro.
That's not fair. You got to remain consistent.
No, this is what I say about honestly, never mind. When you're talking about like appreciating rap, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about just appreciating rap, hip hop, that you have to adjust your lens based on who you're listening to. Because if I'm judging Drake by an NBA YoungBoy lens, you're not going to get what you want. If you're judging YoungBoy by a J. Cole lens, you're not going to get what you want. So if you understand that he's very deep in that one, he's aiming at like
but Damani, you do
culture
exactly that.
and explanation.
Damani, wait. You do exactly that with J. Cole and YoungBoy.
Hey man. No.
No,
No,
that's
no, no. That's
exactly
not what I
what you
do.
do.
It's not what I do. That's not at all what I do. When I'm
Moving the
talking about
goalpost.
YoungBoy and his, I think YoungBoy does a lot of things well. I think he does a lot of things well. I don't think, though there is some, I don't think there's a lot of variation in his
He has so much
delivery,
range.
I'll
That's
say.
absurd.
Okay. And this, I know YoungBoy fans always have a problem with this, but that's just analyzing from like a hip hop perspective. That's not from a J. Cole lens. Because I think like you can listen to YoungBoy and enjoy it without saying, "Oh, this has to be just like all the other stuff that I listen to." But to get back to Honestly Nevermind, that album was garbage, man.
You
It was. I don't even.
hip-hop lens.
No. I can't even. I'm sorry. I can't even try to like phrase this intelligently. That album was pure garbage, and I was so mad that he put it out.
It's now
Don't
8.5
tell-
on my scale.
He got it. No,
It's pushing
That's-
close to 2014 Forest Hill Drive.
that's
It's
nuts.
coming.
That's nuts. That's absolutely nuts. And that I can't even phrase it like intelligent. I was gonna try to put it like in a very positive light, but no, I can't stand that album. I'm mad that he got to put that out under like a pseudonym. Like he got to find a fake mustache and a wig and put it out under that type. Because I was so disappointed.
Byron, is Drake your GOAT? Is this?
He's definitely my GOAT. And I don't think it's close at this point.
Oof.
Especially
sorry.
especially once we started looking at the numbers.
I'm sorry. That's unfortunate. That's like being a LeBron fan. Like you're being lied to.
LeBron's the GOAT too.
Nope. Please. Nope. See, nope.
Byron, you're like the anti-Aria.
Yeah.
I think they are basically the same person in like music and in basketball. Drake and LeBron.
Yeah. So not the best.
Byron,
they're both the best.
I recently transitioned from being a LeBron fan to now I'm a free agent. I'm trying to find my next GOAT, and it's not LeBron anymore, man. I'm sorry. He's too corny.
But that's what makes him great.
So do you think Russell Wilson is great?
What a slippery slope. Do I have any respect for myself?
No, Wilson.
Russell Wilson.
Oh, he's terrible.
Dude.
No,
Russell Wilson is the GOAT.
Same level corny.
Russell Wilson is like a public safety hazard.
He is a system quarterback, is what I'm convinced of at this
He's
point.
garbage. He's been scamming people for years.
Say what you want to about Russell Wilson. I want you to picture this. I really want you to picture this. All right. There's a plane full of Broncos players. All right. They're happily like enjoying a good book, listening to music,
overnight flight,
sleeping.
Oh, Jesus.
And in the aisle is Russell Wilson doing high knees. Picture it and try not to laugh. When they said that on ESPN, I was by myself. Like there was nobody around me. There was nobody to share the news with. I was crying. I was laughing so hard because I was picturing it.
The craziest part is Russell Wilson watches that, and I guarantee you he's like proud of that. I'd rather watch an endless stream, an endless loop of the Whopper commercial than have Russell Wilson be my quarterback. Like him and Walmart are a match made in heaven. That and Sean Payton.
Hey, to leave Walmart out of this?
Nah, I mean, come on, man. I'll slander Walmart any day.
Can't do that. Walmart is the reason Northwest Arkansas exists.
It's not something to be proud of.
90% of I would say people that graduate and live here either work for Walmart or in some capacity of a vendor of Walmart or some company that's funded by Walmart. You can't hate Walmart.
I mean, you got to think about JB Hunt and that. I don't know if it's 90%. Tyson, yeah, that's a good point.
Tyson gambling on which employees
where
get COVID
where's
or not.
Tyson's largest sales go to? Probably Walmart. Yeah. So
yeah, but I'm saying so does Tyson have to fall under the Walmart umbrella? Just as a vendor, I guess. Yeah, you did say that. Yeah.
Russell Wilson, though, good God, he's man. Find me someone. I don't know if there's someone I'm praying on their downfall harder. When his teammates yelled at him this year for being bad, I mean, the Eagles are in the Super Bowl, but that could be number 2 on top highlights of the year for me. Didn't even involve a football. It's good stuff.
Well, we have been on here a while and talked about a lot of stuff. We very much appreciate y'all for being on here. And Aria, you didn't shy away from contact. I'm very, very proud that you showed up and showed out. You know,
of course,
you challenged the Drake lover and the LeBron lover, so that's a win for me. That's a win. If
Aria's not making fun of Drake or LeBron, like, call a doctor.
Yeah, that's my SOS signal. Is like if you see a tweet come out from my Twitter that's like, I really like Drake, or wow, LeBron's the greatest ever. Like, just know I'm in danger somewhere.
Wait. So do you really not listen to any Drake songs, or can you listen to some Drake?
He is a capper. I'm telling you right now. I've seen him.
No. I'll answer. Let me answer Damani, then you can say if it's a liar. I don't have any Drake on my phone other than his collab album with Future. Other than that, there is no Drake on my phone, and I will never actively seek out to listen to Drake. I'll ask people not to play Drake when I'm in the car.
Are there videos that have been taken of you?
When I'm drunk in the club, yeah, whatever's playing, like, I'll bob my head to the beat. Yeah, the beat.
No, not bobbing your head. Singing along. Are there videos of you singing along to Drake's songs?
Not that I'm aware of. Not that.
That's cap.
To the extent of my memory currently, no.
All right. I'm sure as a lawyer you can appreciate that answer, but no.
Damani, it sounds like you might need to release some footage.
Innocent until proven guilty.
I think I still have one, but yeah, I might have to leak it out to the masses. But I'll wait until I really need to for that.
Understandable. You can manufacture the deep fake.
Well, Byron, you got anything else for the people? About time for us to sign off here.
Well, we appreciate y'all, Aria and Colyn, as well as everyone for sticking in with us this long, because it's been a while. But we got Show Thief playing us out. We appreciate y'all. Y'all have a good one.
Peace.
Thank you guys. This is dope.
I stood tall. When you make it through the struggle and the pain, do you get your umbrella off the chance that it might rain? I stood tall. Ooh, I stood tall. Ooh, I stood tall. Ooh, you could try to count me out, but you ain't gonna ever hold me down. When I see my people going through it, I put the blame on me. And I see my homie lose his mind, but I gave him his first taste of lean. I ain't gonna lie, that really hurt me, but I had to close the curtains. And one thing I learned on Lion King is everybody gotta eat. Never tell a party, let me get a whole piece. And nah, little homie, can't get that from me. You play football, you got a bright future, you supposed to see you on the TV. And I said that's true, and I'm gonna do it, but I really gotta make something happen. And I probably could've asked my family for something, but instead I started hitting leaks with daddy. Ain't gonna lie, that turned me to a savage. Really living life like a bandit. And then Murph told me, keep your head on, man, don't do nothing reckless. But now I'm older now, I'm a grown man. Go to church every Sunday, I'm a praying man. You ain't gonna never see me fall, I'm always standing. One thing I do is stick to the plan. When you make it through the struggle, you the truth. When that pressure get applied.